Namaskar and greetings to all our sellers who joined us today. Hope all of you are safe and healthy. This is your host Divya Chaudhary. I'm part of the Amazon Global Selling team, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the Amazon Global Selling Connect 2.0. This virtual event is aimed at providing you with valuable insights that can help you launch and accelerate your exports business. Before starting, I would like to thank Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General and CEO, Federation of Indian Export Organizations, for taking out time and joining us here today. Launched in 2015, Amazon's e-commerce exports program, Global Selling, is focused on enabling Indian businesses to leverage Amazon's technology and logistics infrastructure to start or expand their exports business by serving customers across the world. From Surat to Guwahati and Tamil Nadu to Amritsar, over 1 lakh exporters across the country are selling locally made Indian products to the world via e-commerce. To get the event going, I would like to request Bhupen, Director Global Trade, to share his perspective on how e-commerce is helping lower the entry barrier for lakhs of Indian businesses to leverage the exports opportunity.
Hi everyone, my name is Bhupen Wakankar and I lead Amazon Global Selling in India. Welcome to this Amazon Global Selling Connect 2.0. Today's session is special as we have with us Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General and CEO of FIO with us. As many of you already know, Amazon Global Selling and FIO are collaborating on multiple fronts to build an ecosystem for e-commerce exports in India. This e-commerce export immersion series is one such initiative to enable a dialogue between different participants of this ecosystem. Starting June this year, every month we have been organizing these knowledge sessions. The objective here is to help develop an understanding of this sector and reduce entry barriers for MSMEs to use e-commerce for exports out of India. I would like to thank and commend FIO's leadership for playing such a big role in driving focus and awareness of this critical growth channel for exports in India. As we celebrate 75 years of our independence, India has already built a strong reputation as a land of innovators, entrepreneurs, and service providers. The space is only going to accelerate further with increasing adoption of technology across payments, logistics, and other areas. Exports will be a strong contributor to India's journey towards becoming a $5 trillion economy. And we see e-commerce exports playing a bigger role than before. I strongly believe that as a country, this presents a fantastic opportunity to create robust global businesses and strong global brands from India. Through this event today, we are going to dive deeper into this opportunity. Let me briefly start with a recap of exports landscape in India and our thoughts behind launching Amazon Global Selling. You can visit the program's website at amazon.in/export and our social handles on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more updates. Exports in India have been run as a B2B operation for several decades. The scale of operations needed to be on B2B exports meant that small and medium businesses were not able to participate in this. Barriers typically were initial upfront investment needed, understanding of global markets, logistics, etc. However, a lot has changed in the last 7 to 8 years with growing emergence of e-commerce. Now, entrepreneurs and businesses like yourselves, whether you are a small manufacturer, a big brand, or a distributor, you now have the ability to expand globally with ease like never before. Amazon Global Selling was launched in 2015 to help businesses transcend boundaries and give them access to a large pool of customers. Through this program, businesses can list their selection and reach Amazon customers in 200 countries through all our 18 marketplaces such as Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, Amazon.co.jp, and others. In short, Amazon Global Selling is designed to provide sellers an easy to adopt and scale method to grow their business outside of India without the need for any local business footprint in any region. It helps reduce dependence on intermediaries and brings the sellers closer to their customers. So now the question arises, how can Amazon Global Selling benefit businesses like yours? As we regularly cover in our webinar series, there are 4 key benefits. The first one I already spoke about, it's market access. Market access has always been challenging, especially for small businesses or businesses that are just starting off. The cost, effort, time, and expertise needed to expand your addressable markets have often been cited as entry barrier for exports. Now, with global selling, any exporter who dreams of building a global brand can access customers across the world from day one. You can choose the test market with 100 product units, 1,000 product units. The choice is entirely up to you. The second one is market intelligence. With the use of technology and e-commerce, there is a lot of data and insights that are getting generated. These insights can give you actionable points on latest trends in styles, demand, and other factors, which can help entrepreneurs best cater to the needs of customers across the world. The third, of course, is logistics. Cross-border logistics can be extremely complex and overwhelming. To run a global business, one must need to book warehouse spaces in various countries, shipping containers, and spend a lot of time in an area which is not your core expertise. What we have done in Amazon Global Selling is just variabilize this whole thing for you. We work with cross-border logistics players to make shipping and logistics simpler and more cost-efficient. So as a business owner, if you want to store one product or hundreds of products for one day or for months together, it's entirely up to you. You can do it. You can pick your choice. The fourth and the most important one is cross-border payments and remittances. Payment cycles in traditional export businesses can be very long, ranging from 90 to 120 days. This can create working capital-related challenges for small businesses. What we have done here is that once a sale is made, you can receive payments in your Indian bank account after currency conversion in 7 to 14 days. This helps simplify cross-border payments and ensures that you can invest the money back into your business. To summarize, e-commerce exports via Amazon Global Selling takes physical proximity and scale of your business out of the equation. Today, a seller from one corner of India can connect with customers anywhere in the world, build a business in their own name, and create a global brand. We have seen many such success stories at Amazon. Let me share an example of Skillmatics, a Mumbai-based educational and STEM toys company founded by Dhwanil Seth. Skillmatics first started off on Amazon.in. They joined Global Selling in 2018, and in their last year alone have sold more than 1 million units. They are today one of the best-selling brands in their category on Amazon in the US. Last month, during the Prime Day 2022 event, Indian exporters on Amazon Global Selling saw nearly 50% year-over-year business growth, selling lakhs of made-in-India products across categories such as kitchen products, STEM toys, apparel, footwear, office products, beauty and healthcare to customers all around the world. Among thousands of successful sellers was Deep Bajaj, founder of Sirona. Sirona joined Amazon immediately after they started operations in 2016. With almost 5 years with Amazon, Sirona has achieved a lot and was one of the winners of our Propel Accelerator last year. During Prime Day event this year, during the 2 days, they saw 2 times the growth on Amazon.com that they would normally see on regular business days. This is not just a Skillmatics or a Sirona story. This is reflected in many of the 1 lakh exporters that we have on Amazon Global Selling today. Together, they have already crossed the significant milestone of $5 billion in cumulative exports out of India. I encourage you to download the 4th edition of Amazon Exports Digest 2022. This book provides insights into the success and scale of e-commerce exports from India through Amazon Global Selling. You can visit amazon.in/exports digest to read more. This success has been a big motivator for our team. We remain committed to empowering Indian entrepreneurs to realize their exports potential and will continue to work towards our pledge of enabling $20 billion in e-commerce exports from India by 2025. Come join us as we together fulfill the mission of Make in India for the world. As I mentioned earlier, we have a very special lineup for you today. Besides hearing from Dr. Ajay Sahai, you will hear directly from Amazon senior leaders about the new products, tools, and resources Amazon has to help you grow your business. Learn from Amazon subject matter experts in deep dive breakout sessions with live Q&A. Connect directly with other sellers, learn from their success stories, and contribute your own unique perspective as part of the thriving community of sellers.
Thanks, Bhupeng. Yes, indeed. There is unlimited opportunity for exporters to expand globally, considering their knowledge and potential to innovate. I would now request Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General and CEO, Federation of Indian Export Organizations, to share a special keynote address.
Let me first thank the Amazon for giving me this wonderful opportunity to deliberate on the e-commerce retail exports. We firmly believe that e-commerce retail export is ideally suited to a country like India, which has high quality craftsmen, exquisite craft, artisans, small businesses, women entrepreneurs who have the best of the product and services, but they lack financial wherewithal to venture into the commercial exports. This is also a platform for the newcomers because as a new exporter, you are looking for a genuine buyer and you want to ensure against any payment default. The e-commerce retail portal provides answer to both. If you have a good product, you are supposed to showcase your product. The buyers will come online and payment is integrated to the payment gateway. We are very happy that the Government of India is putting focus on e-commerce retail exports. A beginning was made when e-commerce was recognized as a form of exports as early as 2015. But we hope that the new foreign trade policy, which is now expected sometime in September, will provide more focus on the e-commerce exports. Unfortunately, there are a lot of issues which are plaguing the sector, and unless those issues are resolved, it may not be possible to tap the untapped potential of the sector. And as an organization, FIO is working with the government to resolve all those issues. We are of the view that the treatment which is given to the commercial exports may be extended to the e-commerce export, and that to a large extent resolve all the issues. If we are looking into the challenge which is being faced by the e-commerce exports, there are numerous challenges. And let me say that the different value limit prescribed for the e-commerce exports are a little confusing. On the one hand, Reserve Bank of India allows payment on the online payment gateways up to $10,000, which is likely to increase to $15,000 as per the concept paper circulated by Reserve Bank of India. Customs, on the other hand, allowed such shipment only up to 5 lakhs rupees. And the difference limit definitely confuses an exporter, particularly the new exporter and the small exporter. And that's why we are of the view that same limit may be prescribed by all the agencies. The limit prescribed by the RBI can be a guiding factor for rest of the agencies to adopt the same. Secondly, I think a lot of exporters who are exporting through e-commerce are deprived of many benefits of the foreign trade policy. They are not eligible for pre and post shipment export credit because traditionally pre and post shipment export credit is given on the basis of the export order. But in e-commerce, the export order comes online. They are the instant order, and that's why the exporters are not in a position to utilize the pre and post shipment export credit. A related issue is the interest equalization benefit, which is available to our small manufacturer exporter up to 3%, but to e-commerce exporters, since pre-shipment, post-shipment credit are not available, they are not in a position to get the credit. Fortunately for us, now some of the new fintech companies have come and they have realized the potential of the sector. They are doing their due diligence online by accessing the GST return or by accessing the income tax return, and without the need for collateral, they are providing credit on a very competitive term. There are some issues with regard to export to the now warehouse-based model where exporter, when they are exporting, they declare X value, but when the goods are finally sold abroad after keeping into the warehouse, it is sold either at X plus value or X minus value. Unfortunately, the banks are not reconciling all these facts and they are not clearing the export payment because it varies from what they have declared originally. Our view has been that these kinds of shipments are to be treated at par with the consignment exports, and the value declared is just a notional value and the final value may be treated as export value. We have also seen that a lot of challenges are faced by the e-commerce exporter in getting the EBRC, which is required both for getting the export benefit and also for regularizing their export remittances. The charges for EBRC ranges between 1,000 rupees to 1,500 rupees, and for a small value shipment, assuming the shipment is for 50,000 rupees, the exporter benefit may be around 5,000 if he has to give 100,000 to 1,500 rupees. It definitely eats on its profit, and therefore we are of the view that either the EBRC may be replaced by the FRC or EBRC may be system generated at a very low cost to help the sector. There are issues with the customs also, though all the international airports are eligible for e-commerce retail exports, but most of the shipments are happening only from Delhi and Mumbai. We want the other international airports may also be recognized for the e-commerce shipment. So those exporters who are located in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, they can go to the nearby international airport for the shipments. Otherwise, they have to come and add to the additional cost of bringing the goods to Delhi or Mumbai. We also have seen number of challenges which are coming in the re-imports of the goods. We know that the rejection rate in e-commerce shipments are pretty high. It's as high as around 25%. It's good that custom is allowing the re-import of the goods, but identification of goods becomes a huge challenge. And that's why we are of the view that if there can be a reference number in the e-commerce courier shipping bill and e-commerce bill of entries, the two can be located to allow the expeditious clearance of the cargo. Most of the exporters are not at all getting any of the export benefit because the foreign post offices, the courier terminal, they are not integrated with the ICE gates, and that's why the benefit of ROTAP or even the benefit of IGST refund is not available to these exporters. This is something which we have flagged to the government, and we are working with the government to resolve these issues. There are some challenges faced at the postal level also, particularly with the India Post, where we have seen that in many of the cases, the tracking reports are not available. And once the tracking report are not available, if the customer dispute about the receipt of the goods, then of course the buyer is at the receiving end. We are working with the postal authorities to look into that also. And the last issue which I would like to flag, which needs to be looked into, is to provide a holistic support to the e-commerce retail exports. We have seen that this has huge potential. I always say that this can give us a multiplier of 10x in next 3 years. Our e-commerce retail export, as per the latest figure, is around $5 billion. We can easily take it to the $50 billion. I was just talking to some of the young entrepreneurs in a small city of Indore. All of them were below 30 years of age, and each of them was exporting over $10 million through e-commerce, and they started their business only recently. This e-commerce retail exports have assumed further significance in view of the fact that most of the countries are either on the verge of recession or they have entered the recession. This is the time where the demand for low value products are coming. I was just talking to one of the exporters recently. He has got an order for supply of 100,000 body wash to US. And he told me that earlier the body wash which was being sold in the US was in the range of $20 to $22. That with now high inflation, the customer are looking for product at less than $10. And the good point is that a lot of business has come to India. We were of course facing competition from China, but China of late has become costlier with zero tolerance norm. COVID, they are not treated as a very reliable partner. And of course, there is gaining anti-China sentiments also helping this. This is an opportunity for India. We hope that the new foreign trade policy realizes the potential of the sector and quickly addresses the issues of that. We will work with the government to realize the potential of this sector. And I firmly believe that a lot of government scheme like GI product, the one district, one product, can also yield result in a very short time if all those exporters can be brought on e-commerce platform. There are foreign players in the field. There are domestic players also in the field. There are companies also who are promoting their website also for this. And I firmly believe that the cake is big enough for all these stakeholders. All that we are looking forward for this sector is to have an enabling and supportive ecosystem. And I'm pretty sure that this sector will yield extraordinary result for exports in the short term of time. So thank you once again. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be very, very engaging exercise for the e-commerce player. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ajay Sahai, for your encouraging words. Please join our meeting rooms to get your queries resolved one-on-one with Amazon experts. And hey, don't wait to get started. Join us on the on-spot registration rooms to get started right away and be a part of the local to global journey. Now, let's move to our next session on global marketplace insights and opportunities, for which I would like to request Biswajita Mishra, Business Head, Amazon Global Selling.
Hi everyone, I am Biswajita and I am the Business Head for Amazon Global Selling Exports from India. I'm super excited to be here today, and I wanted to share a couple of global marketplace insights and opportunities with all of you. I'll start with a brief background about what is Amazon Global Selling and how our journey has been. So we started in 2015 and we have cumulatively achieved $5 billion worth sales in the last 7 years. We have 1 lakh exporters selling on Amazon Global Selling program across 30 categories like your textiles, jewelry, Ayurveda products, sports, toys, apparel, and so on, across 200 countries. So this is something that it might look to you like, okay, it's slightly overwhelming. So I'm going to break it down to what are the benefits of going through global selling? How have we made it easy through the Amazon Global Selling program so that you guys focus on what you do best, focus on your product and leave everything else to our program to take care of. So this is a couple of benefits of why you should go with Amazon Global Selling. Why sell in only one country when you have a fantastic product which can really make its own presence felt across the world, across the Amazon, right? So by becoming a global seller, you can increase your business by increasing your target customer base around the world across 200 countries. So, and also what it helps you is remove the seasonality impact. So you have not just Diwali in India, you have multiple such sale events across the globe, whether it is Black Friday or Cyber Monday in the US or Ramzan in Middle East, you have multiple such events that you can access and you can maximize your sales during these periods. And guess what? All of this at such a lower cost. Imagine if you had to set up your stores across these countries, physically have your stores there. What Amazon Global Selling helps you through is, and in fact, all e-commerce exports help you with that, is you set up your business. You don't really have to set up your physical business. You sell through Amazon Global Selling program, you create your brand, and then you figure out whether you really want to go and set up your physical business there. So looking at all the benefits, definitely, I think if you have a brand and you really want to take it global, you should definitely experiment and explore this program. So coming to what this program in detail is, So you can sell across, as I said, 200 countries by sending your products to 18 marketplaces that we have, and you have access to 300 million plus customers globally. So which means, sitting right here in India, you can actually access and sell through 18 marketplaces, whether it's in US, Europe, Middle East, Japan, Australia, multiple such marketplaces, and access 300 million plus customers sitting here in India. So where do you export? What are these countries where we can export? So North America region is our biggest region, where we have US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and these marketplaces. This is our biggest marketplace with the lowest entry barriers. And we have seen multiple successful brands being created from India to US and in the North America region. Coming to Europe, which is our second biggest region, it has, we have tools and processes through which you can register, and you can basically sell or have one entity and sell across all marketplaces in Europe, 9 marketplaces in Europe, which is your UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Poland, Turkey. All of these marketplaces are available, and you can use our pan-European network to really fulfill products through all these marketplaces. The next one is Middle East. Though it's slightly small in size, but it's growing rapidly. We set up this this entire marketplace in 2019, and it's if you actually look at the GDP of UAE, it's 20 times that of India. So Middle East has UAE, Saudi, Egypt, these marketplaces. So again, something a brilliantly fastest growing marketplace that you should look at. And next is, of course, Asia Pacific, where you have access to Singapore, Japan, Australia, and our team does all the work on translation so that you can sell in their local language, have all these support to create your listings, imaging, and everything in the local language as well. So these are the marketplaces that are open for you. Yeah, if you're wondering what the process looks like how can you sell sitting here in India across the multiple marketplaces and FCs that we have. So let me break it down step by step for you to show you how you can really benefit from this program as well. So the first step as a seller is you manufacture your product here in India, depending on whatever are the demand patterns across the globe. And then once you have the product, you register yourself as a global seller on Amazon. And then you list your products on Amazon. Then you ship your products using Fulfillment by Amazon to US, or you could use your merchant fulfill network and still send it to US. Say you're using FBA and you're using this channel, then you send your products to Amazon Fulfillment Center. Amazon Fulfillment Center receives your product. Customer looks at your product, orders your product, and if it is through FBA, and it has a Prime badge, it gets fulfilled in 2 days. So the product gets packed, shipped to the customer's end. The customer receives the product in 2 days through Amazon Prime. The customers start using the product. If they're satisfied, they leave a review. They also, if there are issues, there is Amazon customer care 24/7, which takes care of all the queries. And once the customer makes payment, here the customer makes payment in US dollar, and that comes to the sellers in INR. So this is the entire process. Now, if you think through the entire process, let's break it down as to how Amazon Global Selling can help you through each of these steps as well. So the first and foremost in our unique value proposition that we have is sharing the right consumer insights with our sellers. Now, sitting here, of course, you would wonder what would sell, what products to sell in US, or what products to sell in Europe, what products to sell in Middle East. And all of that insights we provide through our Seller Central portal, and we have machine learning algorithms making the right decisions for you on sellers' behalf to basically figure out what are the right products to launch. So once you have made the decision of which products to launch, you need to list it. And we have a whole host of service provider networks to help you with the listing, imaging, And if there is translation required in the specific country, like say you're launching in Germany and you need all of this translation in German, so all of that support is also provided. Then the next step is you need to send your products through FBA or MFN, and we have again variety of logistics service providers who can help you with end-to-end hassle-free global fulfillment and logistics solutions. And we have this across all 100 FCs or more than that across the world. Now, what's the next step? So you have your products already in US. Now customers need to see your product to buy it, right? So we have multiple advertising and marketing levers, and we also have our business development managers and account managers helping you make the right decision or right choice in what advertising levers you should choose to advertise your products so that customers can see it and to make your products more visible. And through that, you have access to all the sale events, as I said earlier, Prime Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And throughout the year, there are multiple such events. So customers can see your products and make a purchase. Now, once they make a purchase, they are again paying in dollars. We have multiple service providers and tie-ups with banks to provide you cross-border payment and multi-currency support so that whatever the customer pays in dollar gets converted to INR and you receive it in your bank account statements with staying in India, right? So that's the overall unique value proposition. As I talked about, we have a whole host of service providers, provider network across different services. As you can say, if there is IEC procurement, which is essential before you start, so it's an import-export code, which is extremely essential when you need to start selling globally. So that is one. Then you have instant credit card facilities. You have help that can be provided on taxation and trademark policies and trademark procurement, international returns, listing, imaging, your enhanced brand content. So this is a whole host of service providers that you can access through our service provider network. Now, we have multiple such brands who have used these services, and using this, they have really made big global brands out of, again, building it out of India. So, and across categories. So if you see in textiles or bedding, we have California Design Den and the likes. In leather or wallets or bags, we have Estalon. In Ayurveda or personal care brands, we have Nature Vibe Botanicals. In toys, we have Skillmatics, Jack in the Box. Then we have so many emerging brands, which are digital first brands, really making it big, like Mama Earth, Wow, Vadham, who are present across marketplaces. And we also have established brands like Biba, Haldirams, Himalaya, Dabur, really making it big globally as well. So with all the brands and the success stories that we have seen, we have in fact revised our pledge to, this is our pledge which our Senior Vice President of India and Emerging Markets, Mr. Amit Agarwal, made this pledge in the beginning of this year. So this is what it reads like: seeing the growth in the number of exporters joining the Amazon Global Selling Program and the growing demand for made in India products across the world, we are scaling up our pledge to boost cumulative exports from India using e-commerce to $20 billion by 2025. So we stay true to our pledge, and we commit to building cumulative exports worth $20 billion by 2025. And as they say, it's still day one for us. So thank you so much for listening to us. If there are any queries, you can reach out to us through this email ID. Thank you.
Thanks, Viswajita, for sharing details about the Amazon Global Selling Program and the opportunity that lies ahead of us across 200 plus countries in 18 plus marketplaces. Now let's move to our next segment, that is a Fireside Chat. For the same, I would like to invite Anusha Singhu, Account Management Lead, and Ravi Jalan, co-founder Imagimake, to share his thoughts with us on launching and scaling a global brand.
Hello, everyone. I am Anusha Singhu, and I am part of Amazon Global Selling team. Welcome to the Amazon Global Selling Connect 2.0. It is a privilege to bring you an exciting fireside chat to celebrate the inspiring journey of brands from India. Our e-commerce exports program, Amazon Global Selling, was launched in 2015 with a few hundred sellers. And since then, we are proud to have over 1 lakh exporters, including marquee Indian businesses, as well as digital-first brands associated with us. To discuss more about the e-commerce exports opportunity and share their own experiences, I am excited to introduce dynamic entrepreneurs. I would like to introduce Ravi Jalan, co-founder of Imagimake. Imagimake, one of the fastest growing brand in the field of toys, games, and artist supplies. In a span of slightly more than 3 years, Imagimake has launched 2 brands, Imagimake and Quilon, and has established itself as a leading player in artist supplies, creative and constructive toys that win with both parents and children. Hi, Ravi. Welcome.
Hi, Anusha. Thank you for the opportunity. Happy to be a part of this program.
Great. Let's dive straight into the questions we have for you today in this fireside chat. The first question for you, your brand has been one of the top sellers in the toys category in US marketplace on Amazon. How does that feel? Tell us a bit about your journey as a digital global brand.
So thank you, Anusha. So our journey with Imagimake actually started in 2014. And we are very proud as to where we have come so far in our journey, in all these years. And the fact that we are extremely overjoyed of the fact that we are now selling in so many countries and our products have gotten acceptance in leading Western geographies like UK and USA. So, when we started, a lot of our initial work was in the offline space, because online in India was still evolving at that point of time. But over a period of time, we have actually transitioned our business from being purely offline to a digital first brand. And I think it has been a pretty steep learning curve for us, where we have to, completely upskill and reskill ourselves, being a digital first brand. So there are a lot of new capabilities of digital marketing, cataloging, and managing inventory in an e-commerce scenario. All these things have to be brought into our skill sets. So I think overall, it has been a pretty, amazing journey for us. And I think we got a great support from Amazon in launching our products in the international marketplaces. So, before prior to that, when we were looking at building a global brand, the only opportunities were to either go out, exhibit in international fairs, which was, very tedious, time consuming and very expensive. And there was no guarantee of success. Right. But with Amazon Global Selling, we were able to, run the small experiments without too much of an upfront investment. And we were able to really get into a path where, we can continuously build on, learn from the experiences and try to scale up our brand. So overall, I think it has been a great journey for us. And we are very proud of the fact of what we've been able to achieve with Imagimake so far.
Thank you so much, Ravi. I think that's really inspiring to hear such a great story from you. Moving on to second question, in your view, what kind of opportunities exist today for Indian exporters in global markets, and how can an exporter leverage such opportunities?
I think being an Indian company, we obviously start by looking at the Indian market first. And while Indian market itself is pretty big and it's growing also at a fast rate, when we start looking at global opportunities, the market really expands multifold. So just to give you an example, in case of toys, the Indian market is pegged to be around $1.5 billion. And when we start looking at the global landscape, then, the overall opportunity is more than $100 billion. So that's where we feel that there's an immense opportunity for, Indian companies to start looking at the global market. And what we've also seen is that over a period of time, the perception of Indian brands has also evolved and changed, right? I mean, like initially there was a feeling, at least in the market, that there is an acceptance of Indian brand is probably slightly lesser in certain countries. But I think that is no longer the case, and we have seen several international and several Indian companies which have been able to establish themselves internationally and have been able to build a great brand. So we have also been, I think, we have also seen a good traction in that direction. And the fact that a lot of our products are, rated well, and they have a lot of very positive customer reviews, proves the fact that, as an Indian brand, we are able to compete with any of the global sellers or any of the global competition, both in terms of cost, quality, as well as, being able to cater to the customer needs. So I think the opportunity is immense. And I mean, I don't think there's a better timing than now to get started.
That's great to know. I think, yeah, massive opportunity for Indian exporters on a global platform, as you rightly said. Moving on to the third and final question for you. What will be the top 3 things you would want to tell entrepreneurs and business owners in the audience today who aspire to build big global brands just like you?
I think the first and I think foremost is to be, being very agile and being able to respond to what the customers are saying. So what happens in case of online is that, the customer feedback is almost instantaneous, right? I mean, once you launch a product, you start getting customer feedback. You are able to see what is working, what is not working. So it's very important to be agile and run those experiments on a very, frequent basis, trying to play around with the images, trying to play around with the keywords, trying to see, what's working for you. And I think what's very interesting is that you don't really need a very large budget to do all these things. You don't need a container load of material to be shipped. You can start by, just sending a very small shipment of some of the products that you really believe in. So I think that is something which is definitely one of the things that we should look for. Secondly, I think with Amazon Global Selling Program, I think the entire process of global selling has been simplified a lot. So right from different aspects like compliances or logistics or onboarding, I think all this process has been simplified to such a great extent that it probably doesn't take more than a couple of months to get onboarded into a new geography, which is quite fantastic, because I mean, if you start exploring any geography on your own, then the process is pretty tedious, trying to understand the entire plethora of compliances or getting the logistics right. But I think with programs like Amazon Global Selling, I mean, the entire process is extremely simplified. And I think the third and last thing I'd like to say is that just keep learning. I think that is the essence for us. Every day the market is evolving, the technology is evolving, customer preferences are evolving. So it's always very important for all of us to keep listening to the consumer, trying to understand, get that feedback, incorporate into our strategy, and try to keep working on that. So I think these are some of the points from my side.
Thank you so much. You have, I think, beautifully summarized top 3 things, while there will be so many things and hard work that would have gone through in building such a good brand. With that, we come to the end of Fireside Chat session. I would once again like to thank Ravi for sharing insights from his global journey. I would also like to thank all the people who joined us digitally today. I'm sure this session leaves you with a lot of knowledge and insights to ponder upon. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
So with that, guys, we have come to the end of this engaging fireside chat. Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining us today here and sharing your thoughts with us. Now, I would like to invite Vidya Shinoy, Senior Product Manager, for our next session on Local to Global, First-Time Export Requirements.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vidya. I lead the cross-border logistics experience for our FBA Global Selling Partners, and I'm excited to be speaking with all of you today. I will walk through 4 areas, starting with the shipment models that we have on Amazon, then cover the documentation and other requirements for first-time exporters, post which we'll walk through 2 Amazon solutions that we have built to help you on this export journey, a compliance dashboard and a cross-border logistics solution. Starting with the shipment models, those of you who are selling on Amazon would be familiar with these terms, Mfn and Fba. In brief, Mfn is when you ship the products directly from your warehouse to the customer, while Fba is when you ship your products to an Amazon warehouse in the destination country. As customers place an order, we take care of packing and shipping that product from the Amazon fulfillment center to the customer. Given the long transit time for cross-border shipments, FBA is a very popular option chosen by selling partners as it unlocks faster delivery speed for customers, which is a key input for conversion. Now moving on to some of the requirements to get started on exports. You basically need to organize for 4 types of documents. Import-export code, which is a prerequisite for any business or individual who wishes to do international business. The authorized dealer code, which is a code issued by your bank where you have your current account to run your import-export business. The IOR and the product-specific compliance documents are required based on the value of the shipments and the nature of the product that is being exported. Let me walk you through some of these documents in detail. The import-export code. You can directly apply for this code from the website of the Directorate General of Foreign Trade by providing details such as PAN, bank details, and Aadhaar card. Once you submit your application, it typically takes 3 business days for the DGFT to issue your IEC code. You can choose to take this IEC code either in your name or in the name of your company. The second mandatory requirement is to get an AD code or the authorized dealer code. This code needs to be issued by your bank at which you have your current account. Typically, once you submit your application, banks take 3 to 4 business days to issue this code in the format as prescribed by the DGFT. The IOR or the importer on record is typically required for shipment values more than $2,500 or if they fall under a regulated product category. The IOR is responsible for ensuring the imported products comply with the local laws and regulations and for paying and filing duties, taxes, and documents associated with the import. Most logistics partners or a third-party service provider network can assist you on this. Lastly is the product-specific compliance documents, which are required for certain product categories, such as health and personal care and fine jewelry. Based on the products you are shipping, specific additional documentation may well be required. Now moving on to the 2 of the solutions that has been built to specifically help our selling partners to export hassle-free. The first one is the Exports Compliance Dashboard. This is a one-stop solution for all your export documentation and licensing requirements at every step of your global business. It'll help you get the right information, provide end-to-end support, and avoid any shipping delays due to missing documentation. This solution is currently available for selling partners in India who are selling in North America, and we will be expanding to other marketplaces as well. On this dashboard, we provide assistance across export registration, product documentation, shipping documentation, payment reconciliation, and tax documentation requirements. This is a view of some of the dashboards across each of these areas. This is the exports registration and the product documentation workflow, where you can see you can use a drop-down to identify certifications and regulations applicable on your product. This is the view for the shipping documentation workflow and the payment reconciliation workflow. And on the last slide, we have the tax documentation workflow. So with this dashboard, our objective is to make your experience stress-free and to provide you with the right support at every stage of your export lifecycle. The second Amazon solution that we have brought to you to ease your global selling experience is the cross-border partner carrier program. This is currently available for shipping from India to US, for which we have partnered with UPS. This program provides you end-to-end FBA logistics support at competitive rates with the entire experience available on Seller Central. Some of the key features of this program include a hassle-free and simple booking, tracking, and payments experience, all available via your Seller Central account. This removes the bother of you having to independently identify carriers, negotiate rates, onboard with each of them, etc., but instead can avail end-to-end support from your warehouse to the Amazon FC at destination country, including services like pickup facility, handling customs clearance, being the importer of record, and more, all at competitive rates. There are two ways to ship your inventory, either CSP files or shipping, as this involves less documentation. Transit time is faster at 2 to 3 days versus cargo, which takes 4 to 5 days. And customs clearance is smoother with electronic data transmission, enabling same-day clearance. On this slide, we're sharing the list of documents that needs to be shared with your carriers. And it'll be dependent on if you go with CSP5 or cargo. These details will be shared offline with you and will also be available on your Seller Central help pages. With just a bit of preparedness, you can quickly take your business from local to global while we continue to focus on simplifying your exports experience, and together we get to the $20 billion export mark by 2025.
Thanks, Vidya, for such an insightful session on the first-time exports requirement and how Amazon partnered carrier programs can simplify cross-border logistics. Moving ahead, let me invite Mr. Dhananjay Sharma from FIO for our next session on the role of FIO in promoting exports from India.
Greetings to everyone on behalf of Federation of Indian Export Organizations, and a very warm welcome to this presentation on role of FIO in promoting exports from India. The agenda of this presentation will be to provide you with a brief introduction to FIO, overview of India's exports, potential of e-commerce in India, challenges being faced by e-commerce exporters in the country, steps needed to promote e-commerce exports, and FIO services to facilitate e-commerce exporters in the country. Federation of Indian Export Organizations, popularly known as FIO, is the apex body of export promotion organizations in the country. It was set up in 1965 by the Ministry of Commerce, Government of India, to focus the efforts of all stakeholders engaged in the promotion of trade from the country. FIO provides a crucial interface between the international trading community of India with the central and state government agencies, financial institutions, ports, railways, surface transport, and all other agencies engaged in export trade facilitation. Thus, FIO is partner of Government of India in boosting exports from the country. One of the interesting facts to note here would be that the Federation directly or indirectly serves the interest of over 2 lakh exporters from every industry and services sector in India. After this brief introduction to FIO, now we will look at the overview of India's exports. This chart presents the performance of India's merchandise exports in last 2 decades. Some of the important facts to note about India's exports are that after an impressive growth in merchandise exports from merely USD 37 billion in the year 2000, India's exports rose to USD 250 billion by the year 2010. However, India's exports have been hovering around USD 300 billion for last 1 decade, before it breached the impressive mark of USD 400 billion during the last financial year ending 31st March 2022. India's exports in the month of June 2022 itself was around $40 billion, which was more than USD 37 billion of exports during the whole financial year of 1999-2000. As you may be aware that India's exports contribute to about 20% of India's GDP. However, considering the size of Indian economy, manufacturing capabilities, and growing share of MSME contribution to the economy, exports in India has the potential to constitute more than 40% of India's GDP in the coming years. As the Indian economy is growing, so is the potential of e-commerce in the country. According to one of the estimates, in the year 2022 itself, Indian e-commerce market is predicted to grow by 21.5% to reach the mark of USD 74.8 billion. This marketplace of e-commerce is expected to reach around USD 111 by the year 2024, USD 200 billion by the year 2026, and to reach an impressive mark of 350 billion USD by the year 2030. It is estimated that by the year 2030, Indian e-commerce marketplace would outpace most of the mature marketplace to become the third largest in the world. Since year 2014, the Government of India has announced various initiatives, namely Digital India, Make in India, Startup India, Skill India, and Innovation Fund. The timely and effective implementation of such programs are likely to support growth of e-commerce in the country. As the e-commerce marketplace is growing domestically within India, same is the case with the e-commerce exports from India. As per DPIIT, the global retail e-commerce sales from India have increased from USD 1.34 billion in year 2014 to USD 4.94 billion by the year 2021. The e-commerce exports from India is expected to reach the mark of USD 10 billion by the year 2025. However, there are many challenges that are being faced by e-commerce exporters in the country. In the coming slides, we would be looking into the challenges that are being faced by the e-commerce exporters. One of the cause of the challenge that the e-commerce face in India is that the foreign post offices are not integrated with the ICE and the EDI systems. Also, there is non-availability of support of government schemes such as interest equalization extended on export of 416 notified tariff lines, which unfairly deprives the e-commerce exporters from availing government support and export incentives. It has also been reported that many of the courier shipping bills are not reflecting in the EDPMS system. This is causing hardships to the e-commerce exporters, as even after the transaction is completed and the realizations proceeds have been received, it still shows open in the EDPMS system. Unlike in the regular exports, pre and post shipment export credit is not available to the e-commerce exporters, which is severely restricting them to scale up their business at a faster pace. Also, on the compliance front, the limit permitted by the RBI for courier exports is not aligned with the limits that is prescribed in the courier shipping bill or the bill of exports. Similar compliance related issues also arises when the e-commerce exporter exports his goods to the warehouse of the service provider overseas, and later the declared value on the shipping bill varies from the final realization of the proceeds after the goods are sold from the warehouse to the final buyers. One more challenge that is being faced by the Indian exporters is that return and refund are the very basic feature of any e-commerce business. However, the e-commerce exporters from India face challenges while re-importing the return product or while refunding the amount to the final buyer. Similarly, in lack of proof of delivery in many countries for the goods sent through foreign post offices, if the buyer claims that he has not received the goods, then the seller or the e-commerce exporter is at the receiving end. And as the proof of delivery is not available, he is unable to contest the malified claims of the customer. In view of the challenges that the e-commerce exporters are facing from India, there are steps that need to be taken to promote e-commerce exports from the country. We would be looking at what are these steps to be taken to promote e-commerce exports from the country. FIO has been suggesting that a separate chapter on e-commerce exports may be introduced in the foreign trade policy by the Ministry of Commerce, as this would give recognition to e-commerce exports as a separate business model and pave way for formulating specific policies and procedures to exclusively address the unique requirement of e-commerce trade. It has also been suggested that the pre- and post-shipment export credit may be extended to the e-commerce exporters on the concessional rate as is being done for the regular exporters, so that they can actually scale up their business at a much faster pace. The government must also ensure that all trade promotion schemes and support extended by them is also extended to the e-commerce exporters. FIO has also suggested that integrated e-commerce parks may be developed. Such parks should provide comprehensive facilities such as banking, fintech companies, foreign post offices, courier terminals, logistic companies, warehousing facility, custom clearances, tax refunds, export incentives, and all other services which the e-commerce players require under one single roof. With regard to the compliance related to exports to the warehouse of the service providers overseas, where the value declared on the shipping bill varies from the final realized value, either the guidelines may be very clearly prescribed or else certain leniency may be observed in such cases. Also, we have suggested that e-commerce exports may be kept outside the purview of EDPMS system itself. It is also suggested that all foreign post offices and courier terminals must be integrated with the IceGate and the EDI system immediately. The clear return and refund policy may also be defined for e-commerce businesses to align the export policy of the country with the e-commerce business models. Also, in cases of malified claims by the customers that they have not received the goods in absence of proof of delivery, the e-commerce companies may have a policy to shield the e-commerce exporters from the undue losses. These are few of the steps that we feel that we should be taking to promote e-commerce exports from the country. Now, we would be briefing you about FIO services to facilitate e-commerce exporters in India. FIO represents the export sector in the Board of Trade, the highest advisory body on the foreign trade set up by the Ministry of Commerce and the Industry. At this highest forum, FIO has been voicing the concerns of the e-commerce exporters for a very long time now. Apart from this, FIO has been providing crucial inputs on e-commerce policy formulation to the DGFT, Customs and RBI on a very regular basis to enable a feasible ecosystem for e-commerce exports to grow from the country. You will be happy to note that FIO played a very vital role in impressing upon the Government of India to notify foreign post offices for the purpose of e-commerce exports, which has led to reduction or a significant cut in the logistic cost for cross-border trade by the e-commerce exporters. Similarly, FIO has been relentlessly pursuing with the government to come out with a separate liberal policy on e-commerce exports and extend all export incentives and scopes that they extend to the regular exports. FIO issues multi-product group RCMC to the exporters who require this RCMC to claim any of the incentives mentioned in the foreign trade policy. Similarly, exporters may require certificate of origin while exporting their goods to the foreign country. FIO organizes more than 60 overseas trade fairs and B2B meets in a financial year. Most of these trade fairs and B2B meets are highly subsidized under the MAI scheme. So any of the e-commerce exporters, if they want to personally visit the potential countries to gather first-hand information, they could participate in these highly subsidized trade fairs being organized by FIO. Apart from this, FIO has been answering the general queries of the exporters on documentation and procedure related issues over the phone, email, or through interactive meets. Similarly, we have been proactively taking up the individual grievances and representations of the e-commerce exporters with the DGFT, Customs, CBIC, and other stakeholders for early resolution of any of the issues being faced by them. We have been working very closely with e-commerce players like eBay, Amazon, DHL, Aramax, PayPal, and others to promote e-commerce exports from the country. As a part of its digital initiative, FIO has also launched two of the portals. One of the portals, IndianTradePortal.in, provides very valuable information on export incentives, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, technical barriers to trade, trade agreements, import tariff, and packaging regulations of more than 90 countries. And this information can be very useful for all the e-commerce exporters. Similarly, to empower the digital presence of Indian exporters and prepare them to take up e-commerce exports in a big way, FIO has launched Indian Business Portal. The Indian Business Portal showcases the strength of wide range of Indian products and services and specially focuses on empowering Indian artisans, farmers, and women entrepreneurs. As we conclude with today's session, we would like to assure the e-commerce exporters in India that FIO would continue to take up their issues with the concerned authorities in the government, and we would be working with all the stakeholders to improve the ecosystem available to the e-commerce exporters. With that, we thank you for your patient listening, and for any further queries, you may kindly write a mail to us or visit our website www.fio.org. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Dhananjay, for such an insightful session.